Good morning all. I'll back up a little bit. As you can see here, the bow section is completely screwed and glued together. So that was completed last night. I had one minor problem that caused a whole collection of new swear words. When I mounted this piece on down here, I had all the center ribs and this one corner or side piece here out. I had pre-screwed everything so I'd have screw holes to line it up. Somehow I got my screw holes off just a little bit, so after I got that all screwed in with the thickened epoxy on it, none of these other pieces would fit. So what I had to do is I first loosened up the screws on this end, the first 6, was able to slide it back enough to wedge that piece in and get that one glued and screwed in. I then checked, and it looked like everything was in alignment the rest of the way down, but all these center ribs wouldn't fit. So with the pre-painting of just thinned epoxy on there, I had to take them over to the radial arm saw and cut about an 1/8 inch off of each one. And then, of course, I left the cut-off pieces sit on the radial arm saw overnight, and they had epoxy on them, so they glued themselves to the bench. Luckily, there was enough sawdust up there that they broke free fairly easily, and there wasn't a whole lot of epoxy that leached out of them, so they didn't really bond super strong, but I still had to bang on them with a hammer to get them to come loose. So anyways, what we're on to today, it is raining outside, so what I was going to work on building outside, I'm going to have to pre-build in the basement, and then we'll take it outside. We're going to build the strong back. Now, strong back is just a fancy word for really straight sawhorses with boards on them. When you're getting into some of the more complicated curves and dories and other boats, or when you get into some of the canoes that have the rounded bilges, we'll call it bottoms, rounded bottoms on them with the rocker from the front to the back with a curve, that's where the strong back orientation starts getting super critical. We're building a flat bottom boat that's flat from front to back, and there's absolutely no rocker in it, so we don't have to worry about putting compound curves into the strong back or having multiple offsets to make the compound curves. We just need a straight flat surface. So my sketch of what we're going to do. Now, I originally drew it to scale because I thought I had a whole bunch of boards 8 inches wide like these, but then it turned out that I only had a few of those. I had a whole lot of these over here. I think those are about 3 or 4 inches wide. So the same concept will work. I also have to have a gap between the different parts. We're going to make one board going straight across here that's going to be 162 inches long. That's going to support all of the main frames through the center of the boat. We're then going to have another board that's going to be coming across here, which is going to be 11 inches down from the top of this board. So from here down to here will be 11 inches. It will then extend out each side, depending on which side it is. One side, I believe it's 24 inches, the other side 7.5 or 7 3/4 inches. What we'll do then is your bow and transom piece, the bottom will sit up on the upper lip here, which will be even with all the frame members. This is just a representation of a frame member there. And then we'll have a slant coming down here. Then it'll make the top part of the bow and the top part of the transom flush, flush where the sides are going to come up to off of the frame members. We'll be able to set it on there, and then I'll put a stop block on it at the right measurement, so when we lay it in there, it'll sit in perfect alignment, and that'll give us the ability to put the shear clamp and chine logs on to hold everything together. We'll put a little piece of 1x2 or 2x2 from the strong back up to the frame member, and just tack a screw in each one. That's to hold everything in alignment. And then off the side we'll have a leg that comes down of the plywood I'm using to build the strong back, and those will be the vertical supports to hold the strong back up off the ground. When I put it together, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have 2 strong back sections. I'm going to set one, we'll use this frame piece over here for reference. we'll have one part of the strong back right in this area, and another part of the strong back right in this area. So that way it will hold the boat up. It'll be supported out on the side, so if I lean on it, it doesn't want to tilt. And when I put it on, I'll use two frame members, one of the ones close to the front, one of the ones close to the back. I won't have them upside down like this one, I'll have them right side up, and I'll build the strong back upside down on it, and then we'll flip the whole thing over, and then we'll level it off on the ground in the backyard, and then put the rest of the frame members on, the bow and transom, and then we'll start putting the shear clamp and chain logs on, and we'll be getting closer to what looks like a boat then. So today it's not going to be anything real exciting. I'm just going to butt up these 5.5 foot sections to these, where do those go to? Oh, they're at the bottom over there. Those 8-foot sections to make this main run up here. Now I'm just going to use some of these spare boards I have and just do a big lap joint. That way I make it fairly easy, and since they're nice straight cut pieces of plywood, it'll make it real easy to keep everything straight. The hard part is going to be when we get it out in the yard to level everything, but that shouldn't be too hard. I'll film a little bit of that when I'm doing it so everybody can see how that happens. And I'll also show you as I get these pieces put together to give you an idea how this is being built. And as a side note, I am making this up as I go along, so design may slightly change as we go, but so far this is what makes sense to me. Talk to you later. Well, we have the front side of one strong back support done. This is the overhang here to hold the bow into place. I made it about 6 inches longer, that way I have some wiggle room for getting things aligned. Here's the leg that's going to hold it up. There's a back support piece to help keep this piece nice and tight in place. What I did is I lucked out because I have a nice large square table saw. So I lined up this corner here, clamped it into place, lined up this corner here, clamped it into place, and lined this board up along this side here and clamped it into place, because this is a nice square corner, so that keeps everything square. There's the other main member of the other strong back. Now I just have to figure out how to flip this thing around in this basement and work on the other side. So I'll be doing that now. I may just take this joint apart right here and just do the end piece there by itself. Later. Okay, we did end up splitting her apart into two pieces. One piece is way over there in the corner. Other piece is here. Here is the stern section. That's where the transom is going to come up off of. And back leg, and then a center support leg, and I just added an extra structural piece here in the center to help make sure that the large bridged area there is strong enough, which it should be, but a lot of times when I work on the bottom of the boat, I like to hop up on top when I'm working on it, so when I put my fat ass up there, I want to make sure there's enough strength. That's about it for now. I'm not going to film the other one because we're going to do the exact same thing on the other one, so it's sort of pointless to show it all over again. Hopefully tomorrow it won't be raining. We can get these set up out in the yard and start actually building a boat frame. See you tomorrow. Well, the rain stopped for a while, so I was able to get the strong back built. Bow end is over here. You can see the overhang that I was talking about for the bow end. Ended up putting the legs offset. It was not intentional, just happened to be the way I ended up putting it together in the basement. But not going to hurt anything. And then here's the transom end. And I was even smart enough to put it in the yard with the bow facing the alley. So when I get done, I flip the boat over, I can put it right on the trailer, the right direction. And yes, the trailer is in backwards. I'll turn that around. That's all I got for now. Any questions about how I did this, just post them up to the forum and I'll try explaining it later. Okay, one more brief update. I decided to get this leveled out right away. And as you can see, I put a little piece of plywood underneath each foot just to give it something to stand on. And you can see how much I've had to add in some of these places just to get this thing level. So don't be afraid to shim it all over the place. You need to be level both front to back and side to side. And then I measured on the diagonals to make sure she was square, and I think we're within a 1/16 of an inch, so we're doing pretty good there. I'll probably go grab frame members and just come out and lay them on top of here. Weather's not looking the best, but there are patches of blue sky that come through every once in a while. So we just had a cold front come through. I think it's dropped about 10 or 15 degrees in the last hour or so. I think tomorrow's supposed to be nice, supposed to be low 70s all day and sunny. So should hopefully be able to get the plywood on the outside after we get all the frame members on. We'll get back to this tomorrow.